Hi, this is Anna Pavlakis from the Lightworkers Collective, and I am here with Pete, who has been a founding member of the Lightworkers Collective since we began. And I thought it would be really fun to come and talk on here about how things have been with him and so on. So, Pete, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us. And I want to start by asking you, what do you think we have achieved as a group with the Lightworkers Collective, and also any personal achievements you feel that you've had since starting with the group?
Well, I think I feel that we have actually laid an amazing foundation. First part of the work that we did together, which you brought in, was, I mean, very much to do with protection, and it was so interesting to have this discussion about the nature of protection, about what kind of protections that we may need, and also the different degrees and ways of approaching this, because it's a very, very rich subject, very nuanced. And so, working with that, and then we have all these amazing approaches which we can then use ourselves and work with, which are absolutely brilliant. So, I think the first couple of sessions that we did in this series, were dedicated to really exploring that territory very deeply, and I have found that really, really helpful. And I think everybody, I mean, we all learned so much in that.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I really enjoyed sharing that because I felt that it was so foundational. And so, anybody who chooses to join the group will have access to all of this material, which is foundational. And I think it's worth, maybe going over again from time to time to reinforce it. Yeah. So, I also wanted to talk about how the Lightworkers Collective is really a community, right? It's really meant to be an interactive community where it's not just like me up there, being the teacher, although I mean, I am a teacher and I share what I
Mhm.
know, but that it's a much more co-creative community. Did you find it that way? In
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's true that, many of us who work online, many of us have done master classes with different teachers, with different energy workers, and often the transmission is very much one, unidirectional from one person who's holding the master class to other people who are receiving some information. And what's lovely about the Lightworkers Collective is it is very much a group. And so, there are lots of moments where, where we can actually be working together. For example, something can happen during a session, and then everybody can tune in to one person and see, maybe what's going on, what's happening, and so it's very much a group which is
yeah,
able, we work with that energy as well. I mean, we work with the energy of each person. And when we
exactly.
come together to open that, energy space, then everybody is fully participating in that. So it isn't a passive process at all. And
No,
that's
not at all.
really active and
Yeah,
two-way. And I think this is one of the, something that's very unique, and very
yeah.
special about the group. And certainly it's not something that I've, have come across, very often at all. So I think it's a really, great point that,
I'm so
how
glad
we
to hear
work
this.
in this way.
I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
glad to hear this, Pete, because really that was one of my primary intentions. Was I wanted to create something where there's not a dependency, where it's not as we said, like one way, because the idea is that everyone gets a chance to explore their own gifts, their own ways of working with the material, because of course everybody has their own unique expression, right? So
Mhm.
that they can take the tools and all the stuff that I share in the group, and then make it their own, or use it the way that facilitates their own growth the best, and 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 that everyone is going to be able to have their own soul's expression, of this
Mm.
work, right? And be able to go with it as suits them, right?
Mm.
So yeah, and with that in mind, I think the fact that we are offering essentially a toolkit, right, to the members who join, I think is really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know too many programs that will like literally give you a set of tools like this does, you know?
Yeah, I think that that's and also that we're already building on the toolkits that we already have because
Mm,
there are people coming in with different healing experiences and so on. I know that for example, my own toolkit. I mean, there's working with voice, working with Reiki, working with kinesiology. So I have a whole range of tools, but then this is adding, and so this has really taken my own toolkit. I mean, into another step, and I can then use these tools with in my own client work, and so again, I mean, one is there's a real there's an apprenticeship, and then as soon as we've been through the work, then we integrate it and then bring it into our own daily life. It's anchored,
yeah,
so it's really important and it's really great.
yeah. Thank you. I'm really glad that that's been your experience of it. So, I was hoping you could share maybe some personal highlights that you feel that you've had being in the group. Anything in
Yeah,
particular you want to share?
yeah. I mean, there are two things. I mean, I think one. I mean, the first thing. I mean, I already spoke about the protection. I mean,
Right.
that was very interesting because I came into that from a certain perspective, and it was really interesting to kind of look at this from a completely different angle. So that's
Mm,
very complementary to my own experience, and I had my own thoughts about this, and this really kind of, opened up a different reflection for me. So that was one highlight. I really loved that. I mean, I really love the guidance. So we've got, the guides on the Facebook page. That is brilliant. So we've got this kind of archive of tools that we can use. I mean, I think the other highlight, I mean, it was really amazing. We were kind of working on our higher selves and this sort of idea of timelines in the last session.
mm,
And so we were tuning in to our kind of higher self on a different timeline. And
mm,
that was just mind blowing. I mean, it was really great. And I certainly, it was really lovely. It was
yeah.
really lovely. And there was also a sense of sort of connecting with part of myself, which I am, let's just say, not always in connection with in that way.
Mm,
And so I got really strong messages, and I mean, it was really nice because I'm very much walking on that path. So there was a lovely sort of resonance. But there were, again, some real aha moments in terms of the way I've experienced certain things in my own life, and I realized that that was very much they were possibly lessons. They're possibly, but that they weren't. Let's say that kind of situation was not inevitable, and sort of tuning in on this other timeline. It was, you just have to remember that we have an enormous amount of choice in
yes.
terms of which timelines we work with, and that's the whole quantum side of things, that it's
Yeah.
not just about quote unquote manifesting. It's actually
Right.
also about choice. We make
Yes.
these choices. Great example is when you change country, where you make a conscious choice to move to another country, and you can see that you don't manifest the other country, you actually choose to step into another timeline, and that
Free
is
will.
you know and so, but if you're not necessarily in that sort of geographical sense, but connecting and with your own sort of higher self, yeah, it's like reminding it really reminded me that to remember that we all have these possibilities, and
Yes.
remember to be open to that. So I loved it. That was great. That was our last session,
Yeah.
and
And
it was amazing.
it was, and I like what you just said about that because as a shaman, um, the idea of bringing in these different parts of ourself, it's our different aspects of our being to become as whole as possible, and then utilizing our free will to then take action in the world. I think that's another thing that's so great about the program is this combination of taking things that, are in the spiritual realm and then bringing them into 3D reality. So yeah. Well, so for anyone who would like to explore further this whole topic, you're welcome to contact me if you have any questions. The Lightworkers Collective continues every Thursday. It runs for 90 minutes. All of the information is in the link that's going to be in the video, and you can get all the information about joining us. You can join at any time, even though we tend to work in about 8-week segments, but you can really join at any time, and because you have access to everything. And so rolling enrollment is fine, and the community is very supportive and very welcoming. So I'm looking forward to the future of this group, and I can't wait, you know, to see where this is going to go. And we're going to talk more about this in another video. So thank you so much, Pete, for being here and sharing your experiences. I so
Most
appreciate it. I
welcome. Thank
appreciate
you.
you. I appreciate your being here. And yeah, until next time, everyone,
Right.
bye.
Until next time. Bye bye, everyone.